Alright, once again, listen now, welcome back to part 4 of this video. What we are going to talk about now, we are going to see and continue for where we stop in our part 3. Remember in our previous video, our data that we read from the database was not properly displayed in our data in our table. So let's see the reason why those error was showing, or it wasn't properly actually error, though it was a structural error. Okay, we didn't structure the table well. Reason because we opened the table here, we did not close it here. So what we're going to come here, close this table here. We are going to close this TD here, which is table data. Close this table data here. Close this table data here. Close this table data here, and also close this last one here. Save it. Now when we come here, we'll refresh. You see, our table data now is working. We can now select number of display. We can also see the index of what the previous and the next. All right. See how our data now is looking nice. Full name, email, phone number, course of study, and date. Okay, we can as well search here. If we want to search, we can as well now search. Oh, see, we can search here. If we want to search IFE, we pick the data here. You see the power or the importance or how powerful data table data is. We can as well come back here and say go back to add. Okay, you can go back to add data. You can view data now. You see, we are now seeing all the data that we have added, and where we can now view it. Now what I want us to do here now is to do small modification. We are going to create another column where we have what action. The action button is going to take two parameters, table data. One is going to be to delete, one is going to be what to edit. Now we'll go back to our file. Here immediately after the created date, I'm going to come here and create another table data TD. Close this TD here. All right. So what I'm going to come here now, I'm going to come here and say open an href, which is an h tag or anchor tag. Okay, I'm going to call this one edit. Okay, edit underscore users dot php. That is the name of the file. So I'm going to append it with what edit. Okay, edit something like this, call it any name, edit. Okay, we are now passing this edit to let's pass it to something like this. Let's say should take something of this nature. If we are having this, let us say PHP echo, all right, HTML entities, like sorry, I'm going to say echo HTML entities. All right, this HTML entity is going to pass it to what $row, which is which we are using to fetch, and we are passing it to what ID in our database. All right, if you fetch this ID, okay, now we're going to say okay, close this table, and we're going to call it edit. Then we'll now come here and close what our anchor tag like this. All right, don't forget here at the end put something like this. I'm going to come here and close it in total. All right, so we have successfully created something like this. So if I come back to our page now, refresh it, you see we are now having something called what edit. Okay, we are now having it what as called what edit. So but I want it to look better. To make it look better, I'm going to come back to this anchor tag here. Okay, come and say class, say btn primary. Okay, let it look like a button. It should look like a button. Okay, this manner I think is better now. So what I want us to do again, sorry, I'm going to come here, duplicate it, make another one here, call this one remove, which is delete. Okay, if I refresh it, I'll have two buttons here now. One is to edit, one is to delete. So because one is to delete, I'm going to use this one, call it danger. btn danger. All right, good. It's going to look like this. So now what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to come back here. So remember, because we are using two attributes, I'm going to call this one delete ID, something like this. It's not bad. Okay, so they are all calling what based on what delete. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come back here. Let me just do something like this, put something of this nature to duplicate two of them. But if I don't want to do that, it's not bad. I can still remove it because it's already differentiated by our background color. One is to edit, one is to what? Delete. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to put another color here. I'm going to call it action. Action to be taken. You see that you are deleting or you are what? Editing. Okay, actions. Add X to it. Okay, actions. So this is how it's going to look like. You see that we are deleting or we are what? Editing. So we are going to start from one of these function. So let's start with edit. Okay, let's start with edit. So if we are to edit it, we are going to see how we can what? Edit it properly and where it should take us to. All right, now to edit, remember, I don't want us to go to that length. Let's just work on delete first. Okay, let's work on delete first. All right, we're going to come back here, CRUD, because based on what we are doing CRUD, because delete should be last. Okay, let's work on edit. Now to do edit, what we are going to do here now, we are going to come back here, look at the file, we say user underscore what? Edit. We have created a file called what? Editor user. Okay, edit underscore user.php. This is the file here. Okay, we are going to use this edit underscore user to do our code and run our query. Now what I'm going to come here and do now is to come here, open a PHP tag, PHP, take it down here. All right, we're going to come here, when I say section, set up a section underscore start. We are starting a section. Also include our database. Remember, it's called dbcon.php. All right, then we're going to come here and I say if is set. Okay, now here is going to be an interesting one. I don't want us to go there and begin to define. I've created a form already. Okay, you can use the form which we use during our inserting. Okay, so it is not something strange again. Create a form, call it a full name. Just copy all the form that we use during creating a database when we are inserting users. Also pick it in the same manner. We have called it full name, phone number, created date, at, full email, and all that. So that is what we did here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to define or write a HTML code on how to write a form again. You can watch my previous video on how we did it. So what I'm going to do here now, we are going to move straight to our query. Now say if is set $_post. All right, come here, the button, we call it what? Save student. Okay, going to come here, put it here, save student. I'm going to come back here, close this to query, open another one, then close this curly bracket or curly brace here. Now the first one attribute here, or first data we are going to work on is full name. All right, or f name, anyone call it f name, is equals to $_post. All right, comma. The next one is what? $email is equals to $_post, semicolon. Another one is for $phone, phone, PHONE is equals to $_post. All right, then the last one is going to be cost of study, $_post. All right, now we have done this. Now what we are going to do here now is to come back here, pass the argument names that we have given it in the HTML. Remember, the first one here is called what? Full name. So I'm going to copy it the same way it is, put it here. The second one here is called what? Email. Copy it the way it is, put it here. The third one here is called what? Phone. Copy it the way it is, put it here. Last one, which is course, copy it the way it is and also put it here. All right, now we have successfully done that. I'm going to come here, because we are calling at the point here we have an ID. Remember, we append it with what? An ID called edit. I'm going to copy it here. I'm going to come here and I say $get ID is equals to $_get. Use this global variable, and the ID we are getting is there, this name. All right, now that we have gotten this, what I'm going to go now is a $SQL is equals to update. We are using update function now because we are going to update. That's it. Update. What are we updating? We are updating student table, and we are setting full name. Set full name equals to, we are using binding parameter, equals to fname, which is this fname, don't forget. All right, comma, then email, we are setting email to be equals to binding parameter, which is this $email. Don't forget we are using PDO. All right, this one is supposed to be dollar, yes, don't forget. Sorry. Now again, we have phone is equals to, going to bind it to what, $phone, so that at this point each time we are making select this statement to work well with the attribute we have here. The next one is going to be what, cost. Okay, so as this cost, we are binding it to this word, cost. All right, in this format. Now that we've gotten all this, I don't need to put dollar, sorry, this dollar ought not to be there because we are using PDO. I was thinking of using normal query. So when I say, okay, where ID is equals to this get ID in this format, just like this. All right, now that we've done that, I'm going to put semicolon here. We are good to go. Then next, what I'm going to do here is a $query is equals to, we're going to use a prepare statement. Sorry, let's use prepare statement. So say $query is equals to $con. Okay, we say okay, prepare, use a prepare statement. I will say pass it to what, $SQL in this format. Then we can come here now. So okay, since we've done that, next we are going to come here and say $query, this $query that we have here, this one is so, this $query, we're going to use a binding parameter, bind param. All right, so because we are binding this parameter, put double quotation here, and I say fname as it is. Okay, I'm going to come here, fname as it is, comma, $fname, just like this, in this format. All right, comma, PDO, like this. Then we'll now come and say param in this format, another string. Okay, or structure, whatever, I don't know what it stands for, but whatever. Now what we have done here is to copy this, paste it here for the last, and for the 51, paste it here. All right, the first one is going to be what, email. The second one, the third one is going to be for phone. The third one is going to be for cost, and the last one is going to be for the ID itself, which is EDI, something like this. Okay, it's going to be the EDI. All right, now, and that is going to take this argument for this one. All right, now the cost is going to take this, put it cost. The phone number is going to replace this one as phone number, while the email is going to replace this one as what, email. Now we have set up this our binding parameter. Now we can now what, execute. Now say $query is equals to, let's just execute it straight. All right, now say execute. All right, use execute function. You can also use that function the way it is. Then we'll close it here. So now that we have successfully executed, our code is good and fine. All right, so we are going to come here and I say if successful, echo, let's use a script. All right, we're going to use script, an alert, use an alert. should trigger message something like user. If we are using a double quotation, inside should be what? Single. If you are using double aside, inside should be single. If you are using single aside, inside should be what? Double. Now say user data updated successfully. All right, now close it here. Then we're going to come back here, paste it here. If it doesn't work, okay, if it doesn't work, it should be able to tell us something, but I'm not going to go by that. What I'm going to do here now, I'm going to use something which I call the redirecting pattern. Remember, at this point here, I'm supposed to what? Close here, close the script. Yes, close the script here. So don't forget as well to also what? Close the script here. Now here, I'm going to use a location, use a window, dot location, all right, and dot href. It should take us immediately. We what? Update it. It should take us to where we can see the same page. Where is where? View user. It should take us to what? View. It should take us to view users. Take us to view underscore user dot php. This way. That is how it should look like. Alright, this is all we got. Now I want to echo the old data here. If you look at it, full name has been echoed. This one has also been echoed. Now, why do we have that format there? So to display that, I'm going to come to immediately after or inside the form. Yeah. Okay, immediately after the inside the form, I'm going to write a PHP code. I'm going to come here, say PHP, so that we can have all the data. Each time we click edit, so that we can see the data showing at the what? Test area or the input area. Okay, remember we're still going to get the ID the same we got initially. Okay, I'm going to come here, got the ID. All right, so after which I'm going to come here and also okay, dollar query is equals to select or from students table where ID is equals to this dollar what? ID here. In this format. All right, now we have that. Next I'm going to come here and I say dollar run query or query underscore run, anyone depending on what you want to call it. I say dollar con, which is our connecting string. We are going to prepare statement as well. Prepare statement is a prepare statement. We pass it to this dollar query, which is this we're having here. So we are passing it to this dollar query. After which we can now come and say okay, execute this dollar what? Query run. Now say this dollar query run here we have here. We to come here and say okay, it's execute it in this format. Now we are using this execute function. We'll be able to what? Execute the code that we have what? Read from our database. Now what I'm going to put here as a dollar results is equals to okay, dollar run query, okay, to pass it to what? Fetch. Remember we're using what? Fetch or we are passing it to what? PDO, bind it here. We now use a fetch or the object obj. Okay, we're going to close it in this pattern. After which we now say if dollar run query of the row of the row count is greater than 0. Okay, if it's greater than 0, we are going to use for each. Let's say for each dollar result. Okay, for each this dollar result. Okay, for each dollar result, as $row. Let's use $row. Okay, for each dollar result as $row, then we'll come here, open another word, then we'll now come and say, okay, we have closed it here. Now remember, it's going to be closed here, the 2 is going to be closed here. Now what we are going to do here, we have successfully closed these 2. If I come back here now and go back to our database, so our view, go to view, you see it pick all the data pertaining to that particular person. I did something here on this time area where we have date time. I use what read only because I don't want to be updating the time all the time. I just have it read only. I set it to true. Okay, so if I go back again, sorry, if I come back to this page here, okay, we have a back page. All right, good. Yeah, when they say go back at this point, yes, here, if I say go back, it should take us to what? View users. It's supposed to be what? View underscore user.php. all right, so when I come here and I refresh, if I say go back, take us to view user, check another person, you see it's picking their data accordingly. Okay, so let's try and update, and I say Ifeanyi Joshua and add the additional name to it, and I say update student. Good. See, it's taking or picking an error, invalid parameter number in line 29, exception in line 29 for edit user. So let's look at it in line 29. What actually is going on there in line 29? Look at it here. Okay, invalid parameter. What is it talking about? On count PDO exception, SQL invalid parameter number of the band variable does not match the number of the token. Okay, so let's see what actually is going on there. What actually happening here is because here we have a how many number are we binding? Okay, this is it. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5. All right, and at this point we are binding it. We didn't bind it where we are supposed to come here, do it this way for the ID. All right, the ID is supposed to have it in that pattern. I think if we have done that, what else do we think is the error? Let's refresh. You see, user data updated successfully. Click, it brings us here. Sorry, my battery is running down. Sorry. So far we have been able to update a user. Look at it. We now have user Ifeanyi Joshua Andrew added to to the name. So far so good. We've successfully create data. We connect it to database. We create a file, connect our file to database. We insert our data by creating. We've been able to read it, which is arrow. We've been able to update, which is u. Then in our next and the last part of this CRUD operator, we're going to talk about delete option. So also we're going to talk about the last part, which is the D part of it, which is delete. We talked about how we can create, which is C, how we can read the data from the database, which is arrow. We've talked about U, which is the update. Now we want to talk about the last alphabet there, which is D, has to do with deleting. To do that, we are going to write a few blocks of code here, and it's going to be a very simple one. I'm going to come here and say code for deleting as a comment. I'm going to come and I say if is set $_get. We are using get global variable, and what we are getting now is going to be, remember, look at the delete icon here. We append it with del ID. So we are going to get this del ID here. All right, so I'm going to come and comment it and close the curly bracket. Then I'm now going to come and say $set ID is equals to $_get, and we are still going to get that ID too. Then I'm going to come here. Doing that, I can decide to use what they call one function called int var, that we are using this as ID as integer value. So I'm going to come here again and say $SQL is equals to, use a delete code here, delete from table called student where ID is equals to this set ID, set ID, something like this, where ID is equals to what, where ID is equals to set what, set ID. After which I'm going to come and say $query. Let's query this code. I'm now say $con, which is our connecting string, prepare statement, pass it to what, $SQL. Then let's execute it, $query. Okay, pass it to what, execute. Okay, we use execute function. If I can decide to use this one too. Okay, execute. Then after which you can now come here and say let's say echo. If it successfully executed, it should tell us something. Let's use a script and close this script. Then I'll use an alert statement. I'll now say alert. The alert should be something like data deleted successfully. Okay, then after which come here, we say echo again. I'm going to use another script so that if successfully deleted, it should redirect us to somewhere or a page. And now come and close this script as well. Alright, script spell like this. Then I'm not going to use alert here. I'm going to use what they call a window. It's a JavaScript function. It's a JavaScript code. Window dot location. Okay, dot href. Alright, and this href is we're going to point it to what, view underscore users dot php. So we have pointed to that place. Now let's go to our page and refresh. Okay, so if I come here and say delete, it will ask me a question, because if I cancel it, it will not delete. The reason because here at the delete button where we have action, we use what they call inline JavaScript. We use what they call inline JavaScript. This inline JavaScript, what it does is to prompt a confirmation message to show that, to affirm truly that if you want to delete this or not. And that's okay, confirm. Do you really want to delete it? If you say yes, it will delete. So let's try one again now. If I come here and click delete, if I say delete, what it's telling us is say on count PDO execute. Good. Okay, this function is not going to work here. We are supposed to use what, execute, this way. Alright, so I'm going to go back again. Alright, refresh. And if I come and say delete, if I say delete now, it says deleted successfully, data deleted was successfully. If I say okay, it brings us here. You see, we have been able to what, implement, create, read, update, and delete operators using a PHP CRUD operator. So this is where everything about programming is centered on. Whether you like it or not, whatsoever application you are creating, you need data. You must create data. Okay, you must read that data. That means there should be an existing database or storage where this data is being stored. And when this data is being stored, you have to read it. And there should be a privilege as time. If there is any occasion where data has to be updated, there should be a privilege where data should be what, updated. So we have update. Then if the data is no longer needed or action has been taken, there should be privilege as well to what, delete this data. There's where we can also delete and set it to and make it store in a particular table, which can be regarded as a recycle bin. Okay, we see that in most cases in our window office or laptop. We see all these ones. So by the time you now decide to delete it permanently, that's where it will leave your database permanently. Okay, depending on the privileges you give. Okay, so now so far so good. If I come back here and click add, here we can add more data. I will come and add somebody like Bob, Joel, Bob. I'll come and say Bob, and I say Bob at gmail.com. And Bob, I will say Bob is a programmer. Then we'll come here, click this view add. Bob has been added again. Okay, if I come and edit, you see Bob here. I say this Bob now will call it, turn it to what? Data scientist. Okay, if I click update, you see update successfully. If you check now, the profession of Bob has changed to what? Data scientist. So far so good. We have been able to create a simple CRUD, PHP CRUD operators. All the functions, we've been able to implement them. How we can delete, how we can read, how we can update, and how we can create data. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to comment on the comment section if there's anything you want to contribute. And if there's any question you want to ask, feel free to ask. And don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.